Demonic presence at unsafe levels. Lockdown in effect.
There are many demons, but there's only one
Electro Demon.
Resident Evil 3 Remake is a remake of Resident Evil 3. The OG game was originally released in 1999 for the PlayStation 1. It used the old-school pre-rendered backgrounds and featured tank controls. Now we have a fully 3D world and extreme high-fidelity graphics. Last year we had the Resident Evil 2 Remake, which is honestly one of the best games and remakes I've ever played. So the remake of RE3 should be of the same quality, right? Well, not quite, unfortunately. First things first, I'll briefly cover the overall story in RE3 Remake. The game is set in Raccoon City, where a biological virus broke out, made by the pharmaceutical company called the Umbrella Corporation. Basically, the outbreak of the virus in Raccoon City turned most of the residents into zombies. You play as Jill Valentine, a former member of the Special Tactics and Rescue Service, or STARS for short. You're trapped in the city during this outbreak. Later on, there's some developments which I'm not gonna spoil for you. You will also play as Carlos, a member of the Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service Force. There's an intelligent bioweapon deployed in the city in the form of an enemy, the Nemesis. We'll talk more about him later in this review. Most of the time you'll play as Jill. The controls are okay, the movement feels fluid and you control her from the third perspective. You'll be killing zombies, bugs, hunters, special variations of zombies, the Nemesis, and of course some bosses. Zombies walk slow and they pose almost no threat alone, but in numbers they can overwhelm you. I mostly use the regular pistol for them. The first hour of the game feels the best. It's semi-open and explorable by you. The first hour is the best part of the game and actually takes place in the city. I really enjoyed walking around Raccoon City streets where everything is in ruins or infested with zombies. There are some items you can miss if you don't feel like going back for an item. After that first hour, the game, well, kinda goes to shit. The sewers are cramped and feature some new enemies, but it's nothing to write home about. Then the police station. When I went exploring the RCPD building and I saw a locked spade door, I thought this is gonna be awesome. Finally some exploring and item hunting. But actually you won't be opening those doors. They reused assets from Resident Evil 2 Remake. That's also one of the major problems with Resident Evil 3 Remake. It feels like a game made for modern mainstream idiots and not gamers. There's zero effort in puzzles. There's an occasional item hunt, but it's so watered down, I felt offended. Like, do developers think I'm a moron or something? In OG Resident Evil 3, there were items you didn't even know what you're gonna use them for, and you actually had to use your brain. But in this one, everything is mainstream. I'm not against making a game more accessible, but this is going too far. Let's talk about the weapons. The pistol will be your main weapon for dispatching low-level zombies. Shotgun is for more powerful enemies or a group of zombies. Grenade launcher is an overpowered beast, best used for bosses, and mag is, well, a very powerful magnum. There are also grenades, which are very useful for killing a room of zombies. Flashbang grenades are also very useful. They stun enemies for a couple of seconds, allowing you to line up your shots with ease. Carlos uses a machine gun as his primary weapon. This makes killing zombies extremely easy. In the original game you could craft your own ammunition, and you can do it so in this game as well. Now you don't have to have that ammo making machine, you just combine the different powders. There are also weapon upgrades you can find in the game. Most of them are pretty easy to find, requiring you to backtrack a bit and using items like bolt cutters or lockpick to open a safe/locker that they're in. I have to talk about the Nemesis. He's an iconic enemy of Resident Evil 3. He'll pursue you and sometimes you'll have to fight him. But a lot of the set pieces involving him are scripted. There's nothing wrong with that, but it feels so obvious. He is a force to be reckoned with. He'll drain your health down to nothing in just 2 or 3 hits. You can avoid his hits. Now there's a dedicated dodge button which can be very useful for fights with all enemies and especially Nemesis. I like the way Nemesis is presented here and it feels true to the original. I did mention a second playable character, Carlos. I mean, I got nothing against him, but goddamn, there's so much gameplay with him. And this isn't true to the original game. Playing with him feels too action-packed and like something that belongs in Resident Evil 5 or Resident Evil 6.
This is again.
There are also locations missing from the original game, and a lot of them. Why? Why was this cut out? And the game is extremely short. I managed to beat it in 5 hours on the standard difficulty. 5 hours is too little for a $60 game. And if you take into consideration that a lot of the assets from Resident Evil 2 Remake were reused in this game as well, this just feels lazy. And it was made by Capcom B Team apparently, and it shows. There are no mercenaries as well. Why? They packaged another multiplayer game, Resident Evil Resistance, with this instead of the mercenaries mode. Why? Nobody asked for this game. The game uses the RE engine also used in the Resident Evil 2 Remake. Everything looks sharp and crisp, there's really no complaints here. Except for the animations. If you're far away from zombies, you can see their movements rendered at a lower frame rate. I guess to enhance performance, but it's quite noticeable, especially in the first hour of the game. And this makes zero sense on PC, we ain't console peasants. I ran the game at Ultra, 1440p with everything on max at silky smooth 60 frames per second. I have a Ryzen 7 32 gigs of RAM and a Vega 64 GPU. When I set everything on max, the game told me that I might not have enough VRAM, which is a lie. 8GB is more than enough for 1440p and even 4K, so they even got that wrong. What I also don't like is the new Jill look. She looks like a tough tomboy girl. She wears jeans instead of a skirt like in the original game, and this is I guess to please the feminist crowd. Apparently Jill in a skirt is a no-no. It only serves to please and arouse the toxic man and it objectifies women. Man, I feel sick. Apparently we can't have a normal game these days that's not infested with feminism or SJW crap. I hope they learn that pleasing a small vocal minority but pissing off a big silent group of people is not worth it. So should you play this game? Well, if you're a fan, yes, but generally I'd say, well, no. I got this game at $20 and I still feel ripped off. Resident Evil 2 Remake was a masterpiece, but this one, well, it ain't that. It feels uninspired, too accessible for its own good, it cuts a shit ton of content from the original game, and at times this feels like a Resident Evil 5 or Resident Evil 6 game instead of the game it's supposed to be remaking. If I had to give a score to this game, I'd give it 6 out of 10.